Now, I believe more and more of us in the knife community are trending towards having a reliable compact fixed blade in our everyday carry rotation. So it's really exciting when a company begins to make more and more designs right here in the USA. And you might be shocked that this is actually a CRKT fixed blade that has some very impressive design characteristics that scream performance. But there are two aspects that may give you pause before you add it into your kit. And we're gonna have a blast as I put this blade through its paces, seeing what its capabilities and limiting factors are. And make sure to stick around to the end of the video because I will be comparing it to a few other compact fixed blades to really give us a holistic idea of what this design can do. And as always, if you find this review helpful, I invite you to hit that like button and to subscribe for more gear reviews and outdoor tips. And as we jump on over to the tabletop, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Aaron, this is Gideonstactical. Let's dive in. Now we can definitely see the kind of bird knife, trout knife profile that the Soldotna, I believe is how you pronounce that, fixed blade is bringing to the table. And what's interesting is that CRKT kind of had this commissioned as a commemorative piece celebrating their 30th anniversary as a company. So happy birthday, CRKT. And, you know, I think we all kind of remember the first blade that brought us into knives and just the hobby, you know, the desirability. And really for me, the first modern EDC pocket knife I ever owned was gifted to me when I was like 17 from a friend of mine. And it was the CRKT M16 Kit Carson. And I carried that for several years. And that really launched me into the just collecting, using, and, you know, wanting to have a pocket knife on me at all times. Prior to that, I really didn't carry it that often, or I had like a little Swiss Army knife. So that's just kind of cool, you know, a little commemorative piece from my memory as well. And this was designed by Russ Colmer, a friend of CRKT, and he's designed other blades for them in the past, avid outdoorsman. And so again, that's kind of the initial trajectory of the design. And what I found with the 3.5-inch blade, and a cutting edge that, let's get the ruler out, just confirm, yeah, about 3 1/4 on about 1/8 of an inch thick, and a very high flat grind that transitions into basically a full flat at that tip right there. It means that even though it's kind of narrow and piercing, very good performer in like slicing. If you are using it, you know, for game and fish, birds, you know, that type of stuff, you're definitely going to be able to do that. It's very easy to manipulate the tool that way, and that's really what this design brings to the table is manipulation and precision. You're going to get precision cutting, precision tip guidance, able to do that with the blade, really manipulating it into different tasks, and not just, you know, for hunting, but camping. You know, feather stick making. It has a 90-degree spine, so you can easily throw sparks, even though it has a coating on that 1095 blade that has been produced by Tops Knives. Tops does excellent work with 1095. You know, and you can definitely see kind of the Tops vibe in the overall design as we, you know, walk through the blade. You can definitely see, oh yeah, Tops definitely, you know, manufactured the blade for CRKT. And so that you're, you know, feather sticking, the manipulation even on the back spine there, being able to like do the, you know, move the tip around and really do a fine notch, that type of stuff. But then still just do, you know, general utility, have it on your hip. You know, just cut through cordage and rope and cardboard and, you know, that type of stuff. Even though I saw great slicing, it was kind of odd. I had to saw on a tomato. And that must just be that, I mean, the edge geometry was good, but maybe it just wasn't quite as fine as I thought with like the food prep side. So you may have to hone it a little bit. You know, I mean, 1095, you'll look at it, a few strip passes on, you know, a sharpener, and it should sharpen right up and get as sharp as you can imagine. And that's one of the benefits to, you know, 1095. And I'm sure you guys are curious. This is a SHARPAL that I just recently got. I think this is 11-in-1. This whole sharpening portion fits inside the handle. Super compact, adjustable, you know, angles. There's a lot of cool features and really cool, you know, stuff to it. I'll have a link popping up if you want to check that out, and it'll be in the description box below. I'll do a full dedicated video on it. A lot of good stuff, a couple of weird wonky things with it as well, but I'll unpack that a little bit later. So that was a little odd that I had to saw on that tomato to get through. And I always do like factory edge, you know, that I'm always testing the factory edge with you guys, unless I specifically say I have resharpened this to a specific grind, and I say that in the video if I have. So anytime you're seeing action, you know, that's the factory edge, because I want you guys to know what you're getting right out of the box. So along with that, as we transition to kind of this portion right here that could make or break the design, and that's kind of one of the first things that we need to consider. But before we do that, I want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, which is Huckberry. And with cooler temperatures right around the corner, it's a perfect opportunity to gear up on some excellent, well-built outdoor apparel. Introducing their waxed jacket outpost. This is kind of their one-stop shop for this iconic material in all sorts of different designs, including my favorite, this waxed trucker jacket. This is flannel lined. I'm on my second season. Having this built in America with material sourced from New Jersey and then cut and sewn in LA, it has been bulletproof here in the Colorado high country and is so durable and keeps me warm. And it's such an iconic design. My wife recently was like, do they have that design for women? And they have recently released a women's cut version of this jacket. So we got one for her, and she sports it all the time and looks great in it, and it's just a perfect design for men and women. But if you're more of a hoodie guy, don't worry. They have their 10-year hoodie that is designed in both pullover as well as zip up. I have both. They're sourced out of the Mississippi Delta, sewn in LA, and these things are so warm. An extra large hood to really keep out the wind. Perfect for like tailgating, hanging out with friends, or working around your property, preparing a campfire, that type of stuff. I mean, it is an excellent designed hoodie, and that's just scratching the surface. I mean, I'm wearing like American-made denim jeans from Flint and Tinder, and the list goes on and on. And as an added bonus, along with the link in the description box below over to Huckberry, I have my exclusive 10% off promo code you can apply towards your very first purchase, saving you a little extra scratch. So all of the information will be included in that link, and I'll have that promo code as well. So I invite you guys, go check out what Huckberry's got going on and score yourself some excellent gear and apparel this fall. Like many bird knives and trout knives, the neck is very narrow. Now they've compensated with making it relatively thick right here, but from top to bottom, that is a very narrow neck. Just for some perspective, here's a K-bar dozer. I mean, that looks like about double almost when we put it on there. The girth from top to bottom around the neck. Now what that means is you're able to manipulate, and you're like pinching and doing a lot of pulling with the knife. But if you're doing a lot of like heavy bearing down on and you have kind of big hands, you may notice that your finger is kind of floating. Now the good thing is they really have contoured the micarta handle scales all the way around the guard there. So I mean, you're really locked in. Even for stabbing, the tip is very fine, so you're not going to be prying with it, but stabbing, you're really locked into place. Bam, like that, you're not going to slide up. It reminds me a lot of one that we're going to run in when we talk competitive options a little bit later, is the White River Knives Backpacker Pro. Very narrow neck there. The positive is that this actually has the handle scales all the way around, so this is actually a more comfortable feel, but you're getting kind of that same kind of idea. So if you're familiar with this and knives like this, that's kind of how the neck is, but thankfully it transitions relatively broad in my large size hands, and 3 1/4 inches overall span right there from knuckle to knuckle. Fills out the hand, and I can really guide the tool, and pinch pull on those shoulders right there. But, if you don't like narrow necks, this definitely has it. And then we have those micarta handle scales with red liners, make them pop, nice shoulders, hills, valleys. And then we got those copper flow through tubes right there. You can put a lanyard on that back one. Put a lanyard on any one you want, actually. So that really does fill out the hand well. Even in reverse grip, I felt like I could do that, chest lever if I wanted to, and really guide the tool. So manipulation, and it does fill out the back palm, especially gets bigger back there where a lot of your pressure ends up going. You just may find sometimes that your finger floats if you're really like bearing down doing a feather stick. So take that in consideration. Now, and it's relatively lightweight, under 4 ounces. So let's look at that sheath before we get to that second portion that may be kind of a deal breaker, and determining whether or not it is when we run in those competitive options and talk pricing. The leather sheath is excellent. 0 complaints, double stitch, super dense leather, blacked out, great belt loop, very traditional. You got that button snap. It is silent. I mean, so if you're trekking around in the brush, it's not going to make noise if you're on a hunting trip or, doing whatever. Very good tension right there. You pop that open. The only thing you got to be careful of is that really broad, grip that is, like gripping the handle. You just got to push that out of the way so you don't accidentally nick it and draw the blade, dulling the blade, and also possibly damaging the leather sheath. So again, very traditional. Zero complaints for a leather sheath. I think it would have been cool to have a Kydex option. It wouldn't have been as traditional, but you can lash in more areas, pocket carry. The blade I think is very pocket carryable. So that's really cool. Now, CRKT did hook me up with this model, and I appreciate them sending it over for testing and review. And I'm, always keeping it real with you guys. They were like, "Hey, we got a trout knife. Would you be interested?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. Let's take a look. Let's take it for a spin." The issue comes into pricing for this blade, which is $200. $200 for, let's get real. Basically, a tops knife that was designed by CRKT and their partner. $200. That's just really steep, man. They have a limited run of like Damascus that's like $500. So if you're really into this design, you could even look at that. But for some perspective, because I really started to think like, okay, well, what else is going on out there? If we look at the Fieldcraft from Tops, 3.5. So actually a bigger knife, right? Thicker stock slightly, longer handle. Stock thickness matters when you're buying blanks to then work the steel. So the cost of making a Fieldcraft 3.5 is going to be higher than making the cost, in theory, of the CRKT because it's a thinner stock. The base model without the 90-degree spine is $135. So $65 less for a Tops knife. Not the same. It won't work exactly the same. Different, purposes. Kydex sheath, belt clip, all that. So, that left me kind of scratching my head a little bit, and then we bring back in that backpacker from White River Knives, Kydex sheath, fully ambidextrous, lots of lashing options, using arguably the most desirable steel that everybody wants right now, which is MagnaCut, micarta handle scale, and orange liners in there. Really locks you in. It's a little bit shorter when we line up the edges. You're going to get slightly longer blade length on the CRKT. I paid $180 for this, $180 for a stainless super premium steel. So when you look at other blades that are out there, it's like, there's nothing, unless you're really into CRKT and you want to celebrate this anniversary with them. I don't see it really bringing something to the table because of that particular type of steel. And that's a little bit disappointing. I'm just going to be real. If this was more like 150, I feel like, yeah, okay, maybe 160 pushing it, but okay, we could maybe get behind that. $200, there's just a lot out there with premium materials now that we can get for less or the same amount of money. And the design, though cool, doesn't really like, whoa, offer something that we've never seen before. So, yeah. It's a pretty steep and pretty penny. If you're really into the design, it just really makes sense, and you love 1095. The design itself, the materials for what it is, will absolutely perform. But it seems like you're really paying for just like all the people involved. You got to pay CRKT, the designer, the Tops, the OEM, then the distributor, and when that all trickles down, it just jacks up the price. So, guys, that's me. That's my mileage. Really cool design. Let me know. Do you feel like the design brings up the value, that it's more than just the pure utility of it, but the design itself, you're like, man, it connects with me. Or are the things that we've highlighted today, thin neck, and pricing, kind of deal breakers? Let me know in the comment section below, and leave a comment below if you are carrying fixed blades more and more in your general EDC. I am, and I am hearing more and more that you guys are doing the same. Appreciate you guys hanging with me today. I hope it's been fun and entertaining. Check out the other video and subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.